All right, 13, overtime function. You have a job where you make $10 per hour. After you work 40 hours, you get paid time and 1/2. You may only work a maximum of 60 hours. A, write a piecewise function that represents your pay for up to 60 hours. Well, this must have been made a while ago, because if you get paid $10 in New York City, you should file a suit. Actually, I don't know if that minimum wage applies to everyone, but $15 is minimum wage now in New York City. When I was your age, I got paid like $8 shelving books at a public library. But it wasn't a very hard job, so I can't complain. All right, so yeah, that's something you should know, by the way. If you guys go off and get a job where you get paid by the hour, I don't know if it's 40 hours. I think it's 40. Actually, no, it might be 40. Because if you work 5 days a week, 40 divided by 5 is equal to 8 hours a day, which is like a typical 9 to 5 job. Right, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. is 8 hours, so that's pretty standard. So that's important, right? If you're working more than 40 hours a week and you're not getting overtime for that, you should talk to your boss or talk to someone, because that's unfair. All right, so we have 2 different functions here, right? You can get paid $10, or you can get paid time and 1/2. So what that means is you get paid for the time you worked, plus you get paid an extra 50%. So if I'm making $10 per hour normally, how much would I make if I'm working overtime? Well, 10 plus 1/2 of 10 is 5, so 10 plus 5, that'll be $15 an hour. So that's why a lot of people like to work overtime, because you make substantially more than you could ever make. Unfortunately, as a teacher, I don't get paid by the hour, but I can't complain. My life is pretty good. All right, so let's make a piecewise function where F equals salary per hour and X equals number of hours. So we're gonna have 2 parts to this. The first part is where you work either less than or equal to 40. So it's very important that we say equal to 40, because it's only when you it's only after you work 40 hours. So once you hit that 41st hour, that's when you start to make a little bit more money. All right, so when X is greater than 40, that's when we get that overtime. So this is pretty simple. We're making $10 per hour, so 10 is our average rate of change, so that would be 10x. Our y-intercept is 0, because when you sign up for a job, you usually don't get paid. You have to work to earn money, right? If you work 0 hours, you're not getting paid anything. That would be nice, but no dice. All right, and then once you hit 40 hours, you start getting paid $15 an hour. So let's graph the function. Okay, so I'm gonna mark off between 0 and 40. And then I'm gonna start to play around with it, see what the points are. So I know we start off at the origin, that much I know. So let's see, when I work 5 hours, 5 times 10 is 50. So I'll go up to 50 here. All right, and I've got a constant rate, right? I'm not getting paid extra until I hit 40 hours. So I'm just gonna continue this rate of change until I get to X equals 40. Right, and we're equal to that at 40, so then I know actually I made a mistake. I didn't make the graph, but I realize now how I define this function. F's not equal to salary per hour. F is equal to total salary, right? Because here, when I work 40 hours, I'm not making $400 an hour. My total salary is up to $400. So that's the difference there. Okay. All right, so once I hit that, once I hit this point here, I start making more money. So it doesn't really kick in until like the second after I start making money. So, I mean, the second after I start working 40 hours. So what I am going to do, however, is I'm going to find out if I was making $15 an hour, where would that be for 40 hours? Actually, you know what? Let me think about this for a second. I think it's a little bit different than I thought. So this is actually not quite, I don't know if this function I wrote up here is right. Because here's the issue. If I plug in 40 for x, right, I get 15 times 40. So 15 times 40 is equal to 600. So that would mean I'd have an open dot up here at 600. That is not, that is not how overtime works. You don't just work 40 hours and then when you work 41 hours, you just get an extra $200. That is not how this works. So I need to redefine my piecewise function. The way overtime works is, once I hit 40 hours, my slope changes. So I'm no longer going up 10 over 1, up 10 over 1, or I guess it looked like that. Now I'm going up 15 over 1. So if I start here, if I'm making $15 an hour, right, and I work 10 hours, I'm going to make $150. So I know that if I'm starting here at 40, by the time I hit 50, I should be 150 more than I am right now. So here's 400. So if I'm going an extra $150 for 10 hours, I should be up here at 550. So that slope looks like it's up 3 over 2. Up 3 over 2. So I need to fix how I've defined that piecewise function. That was not accurate what I wrote. Right, this function hits the y-intercept at 0. If I try and extend this line here, I can almost guarantee you that this will not hit that y-intercept at 0. Let's see. Yeah, no way. I look at that line, it's actually going to hit at a negative point. So I need to redefine my piecewise function. I'm glad I caught myself there. That was a grave mistake. Grave, not great. Grave mistake. So what I'm going to do is the same thing I did when I was writing those piecewise functions. I have a coordinate and I know the slope, right? The slope is up, is 15 over 1, because it's $15 an hour. So I can write y equals mx plus b. This coordinate here is 50, 550. My slope is 15 plus b. So we get 550 is equal to 15 times 50 is 750. Subtract 750 from both sides. We get negative 200 equals b. So I'm glad I caught that, right? All right, and let me try and show again why that really doesn't work. Why 15x could not be the second half of my piecewise function. If it was, then I'd just be following, right? We noticed the slope was up 3 over 2. So up 3 over 2, up 3 over 2, up 3 over 2. You can see that that's not how pay works, right? It's not that once you hit 40 hours, you get that extra $200. It's once you hit 40 hours, the slope changes. It can't just jump up like that. That would be nice, right? It would be nice if once you hit 40 hours, they paid you a bonus. But then, you would work 40 hours in 1 minute just to get that $200. The incentive of working overtime is every minute past that, your pay rate increases. So it's dependent on working the most amount of overtime possible, not just the fact that you worked more than 40 hours. All right, I'll try and explain that again in the meeting, because I imagine some of you will probably have some questions about that. But for now, I'm just going to connect these dots. And theoretically, I mean, I guess you could work a lot I mean, this, I really shouldn't put an arrow here, right? Because if this is your pay for a week, I'm sorry, only a maximum of 60 hours. I'm glad I caught that, max of 6. So actually, I made a couple mistakes here. I'm off my game today. My max here is 60. It says I can't work more than 60 hours. So some jobs do that because they don't want people taking advantage of overtime, right? Otherwise, sometimes you get people who just like hang out at work and don't do anything. They just kind of sit around there and take advantage of that overtime. So that's what they're trying to avoid here by capping it at 60. All right, so you can work 60, you just can't work more than it. So I'm going to include, when x equals 60, I'm going to include that point here. All right, so this is the correct function for working and then getting overtime.